Welcome to El Pilar, where we're going to look at some of our orchid crosses tonight. Some of our hybrids. We're officially going to call this an update video to the little quote unquote series we have, Quest to Breed Orchids. I don't know if that's like the third or fourth installment, but I think it's time for one because these are some of our crosses that we have and we've gotten out of flask here. All of these we've made in our apartment, and I'll just say right off the bat, well, we've got three. The left row, these two in the center here in these red and pink pots, and then all of these guys on the right. So three different Phal crosses, all of which have Tetraspis as the pollen donor, and our cultivar that we've used for it is Tetraspis green. We've showed the pictures, but I'll try to grab a screenshot of one. Hopefully there it is. Anyway, yeah, let's look at them. It's been how many years of work? Well, we'll give you the details, and so let's kind of look at them and some of the diversity that you see in seedlings. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, we'll just kind of explain what these seedlings are and how long they've been out and what's been going on. Some realistic expectations for breeding orchids at home, I think, anyway. Um, yeah, and I should say we do not do any of our flasking, so if you're new to El Pilar, well, thanks for checking in. Maybe consider hitting that like and subscribe if you feel like it. And, anyways, we do not do our flasking. So we have someone else do our flasking, and then we get the flasks back and then take them out. And anyway, let's get right into it. We'll start with the first one. Let's say that we had succeed and we got flasks back. It's EPO number 5, Elpilar orchids number 5, we call it. However, this is the cross between the Phalaenopsis Yang Yang supermodel and then, like I said, Phal Tetraspis green. And yeah, this is one flask that we did. We deflasked this quite a while ago, like, I don't know, maybe back in August or September or something like that. We deflasked all of these, and we still have two more that really need to be done. But of course, like any prepared grower, I don't have any seedling pots left, any of these 6 centimeter ones. So yeah, got to get on that. Anyway, interestingly, if you look at this one right up front, if it'll focus, there you go. Getting a new tiny leaf start in the middle, but this thing is like crazy. It's like a mutant. So I'm not sure if this is what would be considered like a foreign plant. It's like this kind of weird thing here. This leaf is actually two leaves with the frayed ends. It's like two leaves that are stuck together. And there's like, I counted it, there's like 7 leaves on this plant, and it has this weird, like, really stocky growth, kind of like it's a different looking plant than like the rest of the flask. And yeah, interestingly, well, kind of this one up front also has a darker, glossy, heavier texture to the leaves. And I looked, and I don't know if I can pull it out, holding the phone and the mic and everything. But yeah, these two in front have very little root growth, whereas the other half of, or the other plants from the flask, they have better root growth. So interesting there. This really lime green one we grew up higher, a bit warmer and brighter. It was closer to the light bar. So the rest of these we grow basically clumped together more or less, like on the same shelf with the same growing conditions. Yeah, and you can see when you don't take them out of the little compots, it really kind of stunts their growth. That's one thing I've noticed with seedlings. Like, it's fine to just kind of get them started for a couple months. So it seems like with a compote, and then as soon as they start getting any size, it seems like they do better when they're by themselves, and they have a little bit more room to grow. Uh, yeah, when we leave them too long in these compots, it just we start to lose them, and they just stay runty. And yeah, I don't know. That's just been our experience. Anyway, so that seedling cross. Let me look at my little cheat sheet here. We pollinated. Okay, so this cross was pollinated in April, late April of what was it, 2023? Yeah, so in 2023, we pollinated these, and then they went to the flasker, and then we got them back with the flask, and then, yeah, deflasked them in 2025. So 2 years later, we deflasked them, and yeah, then it's been a year. Well, it's going on just under a year of growth. Okay, so that's the timeline on that particular Phal cross. Probably going to be another couple of years before we see any blooms. I don't know. We'll see. Then this guy here, this is EPO number 7. Um, and also with Tetraspis green as the pollen donor, but this is from the Germain Vincent as the mother plant. So Germain Vincent, we had very low germination with this cross, and the flask only had like, I don't know, like 5 viable plants. And these two we've kept out. The other 3 were really small, and we just kind of chucked them into a little pot. They're over. I don't even have a label on them. These are what I consider is what we got out of that whole germination experiment. And yeah, that also was crossed in 2023, in later, like in October of 2023. So basically, almost the same timeline a few months later, but plants are looking nice. They were in the flask a little bit longer. So these we did not deflask until just in, what was it, like early January of this year. We deflasked these. So you can see, yeah, like when you leave them in the flask a bit longer, the plants, get stronger. It just happened that we had low germination rates anyway with this, so we had like 1 week flask. Anyway, this one is officially registered already. Show you the tag. The Vin Long Red Sun. That is this particular Phalaenopsis cross. Already been registered. Yeah, and so then moving over, you can see here all of these plants here in these 3 rows are from one cross, although we have 2 different deflasking events, like the bigger plants in pots you see back here, and like one or two of these were the first deflasking back in like August of last summer. So August 2025, we deflasked these first ones. And then we actually had another flask that just was not growing as well. I don't know. Our flasker kind of experiments with different media and concoctions, I think. And so I'm not sure if just one didn't do as well or what, but this is the more recent deflasking here. You can see, and the plants are obviously much smaller. But interestingly as well, like some of the variation that I think is cool, like this particular cross, this cross is already registered. It's called Fantastic John Kai. We just put our little cultivar name on there, EPO number 8, because that was our flask designation number when we sent them off. And this is a cross between the Ambanosa, Phal ambanosa, and also Tetraspis, and the cultivar is green in our case. So I think it'll look different. You can see some of these flowers online on like a Facebook post, and I think it's like even says from like the family that did it, like their namesake or something. I don't know. So I just quickly saw the post and looked at it. Didn't look too much more into it, honestly, but yeah, back to the variation. So what we've seen in this cross is, well, a couple of them have done really well, like grown pretty quickly, and you can kind of see it in the light. Like a few of them on the newer leaves have like this, I call it silver stripes. That's what I had named this one, but just for our own labeling. But like in certain lights, it gets like this kind of reflective uh, thing going on with the veins. This light is bad. It's not showing it. Like it looks better in the daylight, but yeah. So it's interesting. I don't know, and also a few of them, a percentage of them, maybe 25%, show this kind of different growth habit with the stem, and the leaves are like a different shape. They're more like long and skinny, lanceolate or whatever. Um, like you can see kind of some of them exhibit that kind of trait. Here's another one that's more like that. You can see how lanky and kind of creeping the leaves make the stem look. It's a different look. And then yeah, other ones, they like, so out of this new flask, here's the other phenotype, if you will, which is more rounder, shorter leaves, like the main ones back here, right? Kind of have this rounder paddle shaped leaf. So interesting how, the plants take on different traits even within the same flask. Now, I'm not sure how that will equate to. Ooh, there we go. Okay, meant to zoom, focus, not zoom. Uh, I'm not sure how that will equate to differences in flowers. The ambinosa, if you don't know, it's a very fragrant or odoriferous plant. It kind of has a weird smell. But the folks reported on their Facebook post that it has a nice fragrance in their cross. So hopefully the Tetraspis kind of imparts a bit of a nicer fragrance. Yeah, we'll see. It promises to be a fragrant cross. So yeah, all the plants are looking good. We got really nice root growth out of these, especially the older ones, and now the newer flask is coming on. You can see some nice root growth starting. Tips are all nice and green, and so yeah, things are progressing along well. Hopefully, we can get some flowers in the next, couple of years, anyways. But as far as like what our success rates have been, they've been getting better, I will say, since we've been improving our technique, leaving them longer in the little domes that we have to keep the humidity high. We've been kind of extending that process a little bit to baby them a little bit more. And so the rates have been going up, which is great. And we've been a bit more ruthless as far as culling out weak plants. So we did have a lot more, not a lot. Um, we we've been more ruth. I don't know if you can hear the boss sneezing. We've both been like getting over colds here. We've both been sick, so sorry if you hear sneezing in the background. Salute. um, we've been more ruthless with culling plants. That's what I was trying to say. And so, yeah, we did have a few more of all of these crosses. Well, like I said, we still have a couple that are straggling from this middle cross, but they aren't even worth showing. They're going to be thrown out here probably in another day or two. But Yeah, and that's okay because we have no real plan except to grow these. You know, I'm not sure what the deal is and why I feel compelled to make hybrids. It's something that I wanted to do for many years. And, I found orchids once kind of got into them to be very accessible to make hybrids with, and probably the most accessible like type of plants to breed in my opinion, as far as just like the regularity you can get them to bloom and the readiness with which they will make hybrids. And I'll say just a quick word of advice: if you're kind of new to this and you want to start breeding your orchids at home, which is very easy to do, then I would suggest start with like species orchids or primary hybrids. Definitely get something with a name, because not that you want to make it commercially viable, but certainly, like, I don't know. I think your results will be better if you have simpler genetics. Let's say species and primary hybrids seem to give better results, right? And yeah, you'll see some variation, but hopefully nothing like super crazy, because like those store-bought no IDs, the genetics are insane sometimes. So you never like that's totally unpredictable. Anyway, thanks for checking in. Breed your orchids at home. It's super fun. The quest continues. Hopefully the next one is a flower video. Anyways, hope you guys are having a good one. Stick together, stay focused, and we'll see you back here at El Pilar soon.